What's up YouTube? This is Russell from Russell's Reef coming to you with episode 16 of the Waterbox 70.3 build. In this episode we're going to go over a little bit of tank maintenance and a couple of tips and tricks I've learned throughout the years that made keeping a reef tank a little bit easier. Thank you for tuning in. Let's take a look. So as I mentioned in the intro, this video is just going to go over 5 quick tips that make reef keeping a little bit easier. Basically, there's 5 things that I wish I had known when I was starting out. So let's get started. So the first tip is one that almost everyone finds out the hard way, and that is always dip your coral. I'm going to show you 2 products I use religiously that weren't meant for reef keeping, but that will definitely help you out when it comes to acclimating new corals, dipping them, and ridding them of all pests. So here are the 2 products. We got Bayer Complete Insect Killer. I use that for dipping all my corals. What I'll do is I'll just have the corals in like a cup of water. I'll add the insect repellent until the water gets nice and cloudy, and I'll keep them in there for about 5 minutes. After they're done with the dip, I will shake them off in some clean water and put them straight in the tank. The second thing is 3% hydrogen peroxide. I'll use that for basically killing any type of algae that I have on any frags. Those 2 products are amazing. I mean, I can't tell you how much they've saved me. My first reef tank, the first time I started trying to keep SPS, nothing was growing. It was like a 24-gallon nano tank, so I couldn't figure out why nothing was growing until finally I realized I had red bugs and I didn't really have any wrasse or anything to eat them. So after that I started dipping, and then I finally got growth in all my SPS. So there's a lot of bad things that can come in on frags, including aqua-eating flatworms, red bugs, mono-eating nudibranchs, just to name a few. But you definitely always want to dip your coral. Most people don't when they start out, but then after they've been in the hobby for a little bit, they learn that's the only way to go. So always dip your coral. The second tip I have is for testing. I'll be the first to admit that I don't test pretty much anything in my tank except for alkalinity. If you're keeping SPS, alkalinity is the key. If you keep it stable, most everything else will fall in line. That's just my experience. I'll test calcium about once a month, but I'll test alkalinity probably every other day until I get it stable. So if you're trying to keep SPS, I would definitely recommend testing your alkalinity and keeping it stable, because that is the key to success. All right, tip 3 is to make maintenance easy. If you make maintenance easy, you'll do it more often and your tank will be better off. For me, this means getting rid of filter socks, basically. For me, filter socks were a huge pain. You have to change them super often. You have to figure out a way to clean them, and it's just a big headache. So what I did for my tank was got rid of the filter socks and replaced them with just some filter floss. A super simple solution, and it takes me about probably 1 minute to switch them out once a week. I'll show you that process right here. Alright guys, so here's a little tip that made maintenance a little bit easier for me. As you can see, there's 2 slots for filter socks back here. The filter socks get dirty super quick and are a big pain to maintain. So what I did was bought some filter floss off Amazon. There's a bunch of different kinds. And then I just cut them into little squares like that. So about once a week I will take out and replace these and just throw them in the trash. I'll show you. Super easy. Just throw it in there. And then throw it in on the other side, and it's done. So it takes about, once they're cut, like a minute to do. So super easy way to get rid of your filter socks and just use this filter floss without any extra changes to the system. The next tip I have is something that I was initially super stubborn about, and it's tank automation. I had a NanoCube for 3 or 4 years, and I never had an auto top-off system. So if there is one piece of equipment that I could recommend that will make your life way easier, it's getting an auto top-off system. It's just so nice to have. You never have to worry about when you go on vacation or anything else. You know that your water is going to stay stable, the salinity won't swing, and it's just really nice to have. And going one step beyond the ATO would be buying an automatic doser for all you SPS keepers. This is just one more thing that makes your tank just kind of go on autopilot. The main thing for me when adding these things is I can go on vacation and not worry about it. I can leave the tank for multiple days at a time and I know it'll be fine just because it's automated. The dosing's dialed in, top off's dialed in, and I don't have to worry about leaving it, which is huge in my book. If you stick around to the end of the video, I'll go a little more in depth with a little SUMP tour. So if you want to see what the SUMP looks like, just stick around and we'll go over that towards the end of the video. And my 5th tip would be to plan out your system as best you can before you add water to it. This means running all the wires, having all your equipment in the right place, and just basically having a plan for your system. It's real easy to just get caught up when you first get a new system and just add water and then deal with the wires later. But trust me when I say this, it will make your life 10 times easier if you just plan out your electrical and all your equipment before adding water. In my previous system, I didn't do this and I ended up having a beautiful display, but on the outside of the tank, it just looked awful. There were wires running everywhere, the lights weren't mounted correctly, and it just kind of looked like garbage outside the tank. So even though the inside of the tank looked beautiful, the outside of the tank definitely took away. And me being a little older, now that I'm married, that just won't fly because the wife needs a clean setup and it just looks better. So I would definitely recommend just taking the time, plan out the system, plan out all your equipment, and of course, buy the right equipment first and keep the right equipment. If you want to check out one of my previous videos, I go over how I planned out the wiring on this system, and I think it worked out really well. So if you're looking for a new system, I would definitely take a look at that video and maybe you can get some tips on how to clean up the wiring, because I know it's something that we all struggle with. And then just one last tip to add, just take your time and enjoy your system. I know it's super cliche, but it's very true. Nothing good in this hobby happens fast. So if you have an algae problem, take it slow. Don't do anything drastic. Things in a reef tank take months to fix sometimes. So just be aware that we all deal with all these issues and don't do anything drastic. Just take your time, relax, and enjoy your tank. Alright, so here's a quick SUMP update. Let's see, so I finally got my Jabo doser hooked up. It was super easy to get hooked up. The programming was really easy. I used a video by Fish of Hex. He had a really good tutorial on how to set that up, so I definitely recommend if you buy that doser from Amazon, I think it was like 60 bucks or something, check out his tutorial, it'll really help. So I got that plugged in. I got a new little dosing holders. I got these from, let's see, what is it from? 3D Printed, I think it's called. Or yeah, Printed 3D. So they're pretty nice. I need something small, so that worked out great. As you can see behind it is the battery backup. It's very heavy and takes up a lot of room, but definitely a necessity here in California as we have all these power outages. And then here is my refugium, which is turned into just hair algae and cyanobacteria. But whatever, the display looks nice, so I don't really care. The skimmer's still working good, no complaints. And then the auto top off is working good. As you can see, there's still a little bit residual calc in there. But yeah, slowly but surely, there will be no more calc. And then here's all the wiring. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way the cabinet turned out. I don't plan on adding really any more equipment to this build, so that should be it. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Enjoy this bonus content of my emerald crab taking chunks out of my Garf bonsai in the middle of the night. Luckily, I was able to catch this guy. He now resides in the sump with the peppermint shrimp that ate all my LPS. All right, guys, thank you for watching. Have a good one.